But I'm glad to be here, and I love this, and I was honored by the invitation. So this is an overview of how to optimize content for search. And I'm speaking to a group here, presumably of writers, which is perfect because we can make a big difference in the performance of a content marketing program, not just through the words. There's more than just the writing here involved. And you'll see that I go a bit beyond the writing, but this is why people visit websites. This is why marketing programs succeed or fail. This is how we make visitors happy and attract them and retain them and build loyalty and followings and subscribers and links and rankings. It's not true that good content is good and bad content is not so good. It's definitely true that good content is incredible high performance and that most content is very, very weak. In fact, it's almost no results. So in the difference between blue and red here, I'm going to start with this kind of funny video of the blue shirts against the red shirts in a game of soccer. We call it in the US, or football, you might say. It is obviously a game of adults versus children. So it's not fair, but it summarizes digital marketing so perfectly because so much of what is published is so weak and gets no results. And then yet a tiny percentage of things like these blue shirts, you don't need very many. Like a small number of these guys are getting amazing results. Look, they've got like 10 goalies. Didn't help. It doesn't matter how many goalies they have. It doesn't matter how many players they have. A strategic and focused content program can beat a much larger program, a larger volume of articles. There is no amount of medium quality content that can overcome the lack of that can beat a few high quality pieces. And in your own content, it's almost certainly true that a tiny number of things are getting amazing results and that most things get almost no results at all. You can see this very clearly in your analytics with just a few clicks. So I want to help you all become blue shirts. And I'm going to be focused here partly on search, the construction and optimization of content specifically to attract and retain visitors from here, from Google, from search. So I have a bias towards search. I've done search for more than 20 years. And I think of it this way. Email marketing, it's a source of traffic. In other sources of traffic, including email marketing and social media, search is very different. In email and social, you have to keep rowing this boat to get it to go forward. You have to use ongoing efforts. Your back starts to hurt. Oh, your arms get tired from all those, social posts. Not really, but search is almost a more passive, very passive source of traffic. Every page has the chance to catch traffic like a sail catches wind, and there's no limit to the number of pages that you can put on a website. You can target an unlimited number of key phrases. It's just a matter of consistently and persistently publishing content. So there's a big, big difference. Now, PPC, of course, is an option, but I'm a content marketer. I know almost nothing about ads. To make this point, let me just tab out and quickly go to Google Analytics. I'm going to go to real-time analytics, and I just sent an email this morning, so you may see more than just search traffic in here. At the moment, I have 18 visitors. 9 of them came from search. 2 are on the homepage. 2 are on this article about how to market an event, which I wrote years ago. 2 are reading this article about how to improve your Google rankings. These are people visiting these pages from our recent email, how to write expert roundups. This morning, we just published this how to write roundups piece. So that I think is evidence right there of how search can become sort of a passive source. I know of no other source of traffic where you can 10x your total volume of traffic over time. And this is what it looks like for a specific URL, a specific article, a specific web page. You get a spike in traffic for content marketing. You get a spike in traffic from email and from social. Then you get that long tail of traffic from search. Email, social, search. These are the 3 classic channels for content marketing. So whether or not you get that long tail of traffic for months and years, sometimes, I'll show you examples of content that performs well years and years later, is a function of how good we are at search. Sometimes it's a trickle of traffic over a long period of time, and sometimes it's breathtaking how many visitors will find a thing, and how many phrases a page can rank for, and how many people are searching for a topic. Now, we're talking about optimization of the content itself. So I'm setting aside one of the two main search ranking factors. I'm really not going to be focusing on the authority side of SEO. There's two main factors in search: authority and relevance. Basically, they are links and keywords. Links are very important in search because if you don't have sufficient authority and links, then the key phrase may be totally out of reach. It may be a waste of time to target that key phrase. So we all know that this was Google's great innovation. Their great invention was to pay attention to links between pages and use that as a search ranking factor. After that moment in internet history, search results got much, much better. All search engines now pay attention to links. What it means in practice is that any website, here's one, any web page has a certain amount of authority passed to it through links from other pages, and therefore it can only target phrases of a certain amount of difficulty. If the average authority of the other high-ranking pages is far above your authority, you have no chance of ranking. That page will never rank for this phrase. That page will never rank for this phrase, but that page can rank for this phrase. So that is another topic. In fact, that page does rank for that phrase. That is another topic that we're not focused on today, but I highlight it briefly because it's total futility to target a key phrase if you have a 0% chance of ranking for it. So we need to understand competition in search, and without that, it's not nothing else will help you. So I'm only going that far into that half of SEO, which is about building links and authority, and influencer collaborations and offsite publishing and digital PR and things that drive links. So let's just assume we have a level of authority and that we're targeting a key phrase that's realistic for us. And now it's our second job, the second half, which is to indicate relevance, to optimize the content as a creator, as a writer, to indicate relevance. That begins with understanding the keywords. We're not just going to cram a bunch of keywords on the page. That was old school SEO. I did SEO back then. These were days years ago when 20 years ago, before Google finished winning the battle, we were always just trying to figure out the right number of times to include a phrase. It was sort of weird. But now we have to really understand the intent of the visitor, and visitor intent breaks down into basically three categories. If we don't understand the visitor intent, we are not able to optimize for the phrase because we can't sufficiently address the broader topic. We're going to target topics, not just key phrases. Target the topic, not just the phrase. So every key phrase indicates intent and indicates the topic the visitor is interested in. And they're basically broken down into three groups: information, transaction, and navigation. Or you could say know, do, and go. 80% of all queries are just informational. People are just looking for an answer. I call those the question mark key phrases and the $ key phrases. Or I just got back, Pavel knows, I just got back from Europe, where I would have just maybe used euros as the example. So question mark, zeros, and navigation, or the arrow, or just trying to get to a website. Set aside the navigational queries and let's focus on those first two: information intent and commercial intent. The person who wants a product, they know the service they need. They're searching for a phrase that indicates they need a service. Chicago plumber. My sink is leaking. I need a plumber now. I'm searching for Chicago plumber. I'm not looking for an answer to a question. I'm trying to find help. So that's the transactional key phrase or commercial intent key phrase. Other people, maybe they're just looking for information. Why does my sink smell weird? That person's looking for an answer. So those people have different types of intent. There's far more searches for informational queries, and those people land on two different parts of the website. We need to understand this. The service pages are the pages that rank for the commercial intent key phrases, but the blog posts, the articles, the content marketing program is what ranks for the information intent queries. So two types of visitors search for two types of key phrases, land on two types of pages, and actually have two different types of possible conversions, two actions they may likely take. The visitor who had commercial intent, Chicago plumber, they may convert into a lead. I'm calling, I'm filling out a form, I'm chatting with an expert, I need to schedule this right away. My floor is wet. But the visitor who's just trying to get information, how do I fix my own sink, or tips for drain clogs, that person lands in an article. If they're sufficiently impressed, they may subscribe, and that's a conversion. So those are the two types of pages and two types of conversions. Really, it's all about the page. Every key phrase is a competition, and every page is a different competitor. We must have a page to target a phrase. This might sound overly simplistic, but it comes up for me in conversations all the time. People say, why don't I rank for that key phrase? My next question is, well, which page on your site is the best page on that topic? And they look and they say, I guess I don't have a page on that topic. The answer is then, well, that's why you don't rank for that key phrase. You don't have a competitor in that competition. Every competition is an independent, separate challenge. Some competitions, you need different types of competitors. So it's about the intent, it's about the type of page, it's about the content itself. So, but if there's no URL, the URL is sort of the unit of currency on the internet. No URL, no chance of ranking. Therefore, a smart sitemap has many pages targeting many phrases. This is an example of a sitemap. Sitemaps are an opportunity to indicate your keyword targeting. And the homepage may target the brand name. That's a navigational query. It's sort of automatic. But also may target a commercial intent query, usually the most competitive one because that's the page with the highest authority. The service pages or product pages rank for commercial intent queries. The blogs and articles and content marketing program is what ranks for all the informational queries. So take a screenshot of this if you want to just keep this in mind. This is really, really important as we understand keyword targeting. Now we're ready to optimize the content. Now we know the intent of the visitor. Now we know the type of page template, the layout, the structure of that page. Is this a page about sales, in which case it's not advice, it's trying to build a trust? Or is this a page about just answering a question, how to fix a broken sink? It's just filled with advice, calls to action to subscribe or to share, but really more about visuals and keeping them engaged for that lower intent visitor who maybe just wants to find an answer quickly. Very different types of intent. So we're going to indicate relevance now. We're going to indicate relevance by just helping the search engine know what this page is about. This is fundamental to search and information retrieval. Search is an information retrieval technology. So a search optimizer is trying to help their information be retrieved. This is the internet's sort of a library, and your page is sort of a book, and we want to help that book be discovered. And to do that, we must indicate its relevance. That's a proper way to think about search. It's information retrieval technology. And optimization is about making content that's easy to be retrieved. So it's the most visible places that are the most important places to indicate relevance. Title tags are highly visible. Headers are visible. Body text is obviously the page, and meta descriptions are visible. There is no secret hidden place to trick a robot into ranking a page, right? Does it matter if the URL has the key phrase? There's really no correlation in the studies I've seen. Alt tags on an image? Okay. But do you believe that's an important place to indicate relevance? Millions of pages rank super high with no alt tags at all. What about the file name? I have people ask me things like, I'm trying to rank for Mexico beach vacations. Should I make every picture on this page have the file name Mexico beach vacations 1.jpg, Mexico beach vacations 2.jpg? What? Why would that matter? If you were building a search engine, would you care about that? People have very weird beliefs in SEO, almost like superstitions. It fails the common sense test to believe that these strange places to try to cram a keyword could make a difference. It's silly. Google is trying to help people find a great page that answers questions in detail. So your first job is to make a great page that answers questions in detail. You're not. You're thinking about it in the wrong way if you're looking for strange, additional places to put your target key phrase. That's weird. But visible places are critically important, right? If your book is called something, then it's more likely your book will be discovered by people looking for that thing. So the title tag, people call it the meta title. There's no meta in the tag. I don't know why people call it a meta title. Meta tags are specific things. The title is just the title tag. So we should use the title tag. We should indicate relevance in the title tag by using the target key phrase and by using it once at the beginning. The title tag appears in the code on the page. Like this page is optimized for how-to research keywords. That is the beginning of the title tag. And the title tag appears as the tab in the browser, how-to research keywords, right? It also frequently becomes the link when the page ranks in Google. Not always, but frequently it does. And so it actually has an impact on your click-through rate, not just your rankings. SEO is not just about rankings. It's about rankings times the ranking and impressions times click-through rate equals qualified visitors times your conversion rate equals leads or subscribers. Right? We're talking about a business outcome here. Ranking alone is insufficient for business outcomes. You can rank for an irrelevant phrase and attract unqualified visitors, or you could rank for an unknown phrase no one's searching for and attract no visitors. So the title tag is obviously very important. The worst title tag for a website's homepage is the word home. A unicorn cries every time you make your homepage title tag say home. It's like writing a book called Book. It's a dumb name for a book. Be specific. Specificity correlates with all good things, with rankings, with conversions, with everything. One of the most common problems in digital web pages, content marketing, calls to action, ad, PPC, ad, everything. Right. One of the most common problems is a lack of specificity. We'll see examples of that in a minute. So never make your homepage title tag say home. That's like a rookie mistake. It's an amateur mistake. Your homepage actually is the strongest competitor and can enter the most difficult competitions because it's the page that has the highest, almost inevitably, it's the page with the highest page authority of every page on your domain. So make the homepage title tag keyword focused, obviously, make it relevant to the business. The header, the H1 header, is also obviously a very important place to indicate relevance. If you were writing a search engine from scratch today and you were deciding like how to understand what this page is, you'd look at the headline, wouldn't you? Of course you would. The headline correlates with the topic of the page. So use the target key phrase in the header. How to research keywords. That's the H1 tag. It's the header. There's other headers below, H2s through H6, but let's focus on the H1. That's a step-by-step guide. Now here's my template for search-friendly headers. Web content checklist, 21 ways to blah, blah, blah. So I've got the target key phrase. I've got a colon and then a number. I'm trying to increase the click-through rate by indicating to visitors that this content is very scannable, that it's a low commitment, that clicking you can easily find something useful. That's what numbers do. They affect the psychology of the person who potentially would click by indicating that the content is going to be easy to consume. And then the benefit of clicking. Why would you click? For better content. Finally, the body text is the third critical place to indicate relevance with your target key phrase. How many times should you use the target key phrase in the body? You should use it exactly 2 to 4 times every 500 words. I'm kidding. That's a joke. There is no rule. There's no rule. There is no perfect number of times to use the target key phrase. That's a silly idea. If there was, search results would probably be terrible. But the point here is that you should use the phrase a time or two on the page. So my article about how to research keywords mentions keyword research and keyword research in the body text naturally. Here is one of the examples of why specificity is important and how vague content is a problem for both readers and search engines. This is a real page, and I'll read you a section here. It says, blank is a solutions provider solving its clients' problems that in turn create real value to its market segment. What? That doesn't actually say anything. That is a terrible bit of copywriting. It's an actual page, but it's not relevant to anything. If you were a search engine, could you tell what this page is about? No, you would not know what the page is about. Finally, there's also another place where you can indicate relevance. It may not be a search ranking factor, but it might be a click-through rate factor. The meta description also appears in the code, and it frequently appears in the snippet, search snippets or search listings. So a search listing, a snippet, is the title tag, the URL, and the meta description, generally speaking. And the meta description is a chance to indicate relevance, just to tell the visitor that, what they're going to get. It's like selling the article. So these things are often managed in a WordPress plugin called Yoast. Yoast is extremely popular. I suspect many of you have used it. It's a place where as you type in your possible title and meta description, that it previews what the search snippet might look like on desktop and in mobile. And it gives so that you don't type in too many characters and reach the point at which it gets truncated or cut off. So it's a preview tool for snippets. I do not think that this is sufficient to make you a good SEO. That line can be green for every one of your pages, but you still get zero traffic from search, because Yoast does not know the relative competition for the key phrase. Yoast does not evaluate your chance of ranking based on your authority. So this is a completely insufficient tool. I don't think it's an SEO tool as much as just a snippet preview tool. This isn't for serious. Honestly, I never use it. I just keep in mind that titles can't be longer than 60 characters and meta descriptions can't be longer than 155 characters. So I really don't need Yoast to tell me that. I just remember that and do a character count after I write my title and meta description. Now, once you've created your page, you can just go look at it and double check to make sure you use the key phrase by hitting Control F. And you'll see if the key phrase is in the header and the body text. It won't show you, of course, the title tag, which you also should check, and it will show you links. Now, the links do not indicate relevance of this page. The links indicate relevance of the page that they link to. Keyword-focused links are a way to indicate relevance of the page that they link to. So we'll talk about internal linking in a bit, and I'll recommend that we link to this page from other pages, and that's a place to indicate relevance in those links. But it's sort of a weird idea to, but if the only place on your page that mentions the key phrase is links, your keyword frequency is actually 0. You did not use the phrase at all. We're talking about body text and headers, and when you do the Control F test. Okay, so we've indicated relevance in the most basic and fundamental way. Our next step is to use the semantically related phrases, build up the quality, indicate relevance more broadly, target the topic, not just the key phrase. So if I'm writing an article about web design tips, I can look to see what Google is going to recommend if I begin searching for that. And these phrases are actually semantically related to my topic, or they would not appear here. So I'm going to begin doing a search here. If I'm writing an article about web design tips, that might be my primary key phrase, but I want to find all the related phrases and incorporate those into my article. So I'm going to do a search like this and write these down. For beginners, small business, tips and tricks, bounce rate, the year maybe. If you type the letter A, it will show you more in different ones. The letter B, it will show you more in different ones. So, but it's kind of boring to type those every time. So you can just use a tool called keywordtool.io to scrape out of Google Suggest all the phrases it would have suggested if you had typed the next letter of the alphabet 26 times. So I use this, and this is just a way to quickly show me semantically related phrases. Sometimes there's more than 100 of them. I'm going to put these on a list. You can also search for the phrase and see the other recommended searches and put these on your list. Look how to, layout, techniques, add these to the list. And also now most searches have the people also ask box, which is a great shortcut for a content marketer. You can go to this page and just find out what everyone is asking, right? And add some of these words to the list. Expand, collapse, expand, collapse. It will show you dozens. And these are all semantically related topics. Now, one last thing. If you want to get very fancy, you can search for the phrase and find the #1 ranked page. And if you use a tool like SEMrush to see those rankings, it will show you all the phrases that that page ranks for. And those are basically semantically related phrases too. So I might add these to my list: professional, best, advice. See how these are different words? These are all the phrases that the #1 ranked page ranks for. So therefore, they must be semantically related to the topic. So now I've got a list. People sometimes ask, what tool do you use for that? I'm not using a tool in this case. I'm just writing them down. And now as I write my article and I incorporate these phrases in the editorial flow, sometimes a full paragraph for each, I'm going to just cross them off my list. That's all I do. That's called semantic SEO. I'm broadening my topic by covering all the related subtopics, by answering all the related questions, by mentioning all of the phrases that I have proven to be semantically connected to my primary key phrase just through that tiny bit of free research. Now, when I go make my article, it's a better article than it would have otherwise been. It's sometimes a very strong piece because I did this research. In this case, it's, my 15 ideas became 27 ideas, and I get all this other stuff. This is web design tips is my target key phrase. How to design a website is my secondary key phrase. And it's a very, very detailed article. In fact, if you pan out and take a screenshot of the whole thing, look how tall it is. It's 4,000 words. I'm literally trying to make the best page on the internet. I'm not exaggerating. If you do not try to make the best page on the internet for your topic, then you're not actually doing SEO. A search optimizer tries to align with the goals of Google and the visitor, which are both focused on quality and clarity and detail. So you need to make pages that are quality and with clarity and with detail if you're serious about search. If you want to be one of the top 10 ranking pages and appear on page 1, you should be making a sincere attempt to make one of the 10 best pages on the internet for that topic. So I do not mean that as an exaggeration. I'm not trying to be, funny or clever about this. I am sincerely obsessed with quality because I'm an SEO. And SEO frequently makes me a better writer because I go deeper into these topics and cover off on the related phrases. 4 sections, 27 subsections, 30 charts and diagrams, 5 contributor quotes. And today the page ranks #2 for web design tips. Here's the analytics. I took the screenshot a few hours ago. This was originally published in 2013. It was rewritten later in 2018, and which is another topic. I often rewrite articles to help them rank higher. You can see the difference it made. And today it's had 118,000 page views. It would have only had hundreds of page views had I not optimized it for search. It's also attracted links, like more than 100 links, which helps my domain authority and helps every page on my website rank higher forever after. Another example quickly, website footer design best practices. It ranks for website footer design. Even though Google's own tool, the keyword planner, suggested that only 100 to 1,000 people search for that key phrase per month, that article gets thousands of views a week. Almost 500,000 views when I took this screenshot. How is that possible that an article could get 500,000 views if there's only, or thousands per week if there's only less than 1,000 per month of people searching for it? Well, the answer, according to Google Search Console, is that it ranks for 2,500 phrases. So when you do this semantic SEO, covering off on the broader topic, you're building up your content such that it ranks for many more phrases than just the single primary key phrase. SEO will make you a better writer when you go deeper into topics, incorporating all the semantically related subtopics and answering all the related questions, helping that page rank for many dozens or hundreds or thousands of phrases, because we're not really just targeting one specific key phrase. There's a search by a research piece by Ahrefs that found that any page that ranks number one for something also ranks for as many as 1,000 other things. So it's this is semantic SEO. It is the state of the art, and it's the my key message for you today is to target the broader topic, not just this specific phrase. So I have other examples of that. So keyword volume, or the popularity of a key phrase, is sort of overrated. I don't pay that much attention to the number of people who are searching for a target key phrase each month. So this is my newest article, How to Write Better Roundups. I'll show you my keyword research process. I have a template I can share with each of you. Roundups. This is the article before it went live here in my template. Here I am targeting I'm researching keywords. I put the date. This is just the other day. How to write a roundup, no monthly volume. So what? I'm going to target that anyway, because I know somebody's searching for it. It was recommended. It was suggested by Google. Expert roundup, 50 to 100. Does that seem low? If I do this well, I'm going to get a lot of traffic to this page, right? This is an extremely detailed article that answers every question related to creating roundups. So I do not worry very much anymore about the relative volume for a key phrase. There are tools that will help you do semantic SEO. Here's one I'll introduce you to called Market Muse. Market Muse, you give it your page and you give it a phrase. If the page is not live yet, you can simply copy in the body text, your draft copy here, and then it will go compare your keyword usage to the keyword usage of the other pages that rank in the top 20 for that key phrase. So it begins to recommend things like, these words. It shows me in one column, these are all the related phrases that it found. And it shows me how often and how many times I used each phrase and how often each of my competitors used this key phrase. So like in this example, I didn't mention multiple sitemaps as a 0, but the average page that ranks high for this phrase actually mentions that phrase 1 to 2 times. So I should probably try to incorporate some copy here, some answers here about multiple sitemaps. I can imagine how that would make this a better article. So this is, it's a fun way to, it's like one of those $100 per month tools. And you don't need it. I showed you already how to do this by hand. But if you do this, it will push you, it's a data-driven way. It's a shortcut. It's a way to, focus on the broader topic. Next, let's make sure that our content is structured for the scan reader. Now, I'm going to introduce to you a third search ranking factor that many of us believe to be important. It's whether or not the visitor likes the page. So yes, authority and relevance, as in links and keywords, but whether or not the person stayed on the page could be a third search ranking factor. They came from search. Did they land and just quickly leave? Or did they land and consume the content for many long minutes and then leave? Big difference. And Google sees that because, of course, they own the search engine and Google Analytics, and they own Chrome, and they own Android, the number one search engine, the number one analytics tool, the number one browser, the number one operating system. They are a very powerful monopoly. So time on page does seem to correlate with high rankings. I see this myself on my account and on the many hundreds of analytics accounts that I have access to from my clients. So the hypothesis sounds like this: visitor searches, visitor clicks, visitor vomits on their keyboard and hits the back button. They were only on that page for a few seconds. Visitor scans down, clicks again. Visitor falls in love. They spend 5 long minutes on that page reading everything there is to know about it, consuming the content deeply, and then hit the back button. Those were both bounces. Those were both one-page visits. But one was the short click and one was the long click. One had very low dwell time on page from search. One had very high dwell time, long visit after clicking from search. So we have to answer this question: how do you get visitors to stay? Well, for starters, we need to format our content, structure our content, headers, bullet lists, subheads, numbered lists, bolding, italics, internal links, and multiple images. We know that the visitors are not going to read every word. There's plenty of research on this. The Nielsen Norman Group found that maybe 20% of the words get read. You could do this for your own site. Just look at the word, do a scatter plot chart for the number of the word count on the page and the time on page, assuming maybe a reading speed of 250 words a minute. You're going to find that most words are not read, which is why we have to scan and not write blocky paragraphs. We can't send them into a big, dense block of text because they're not going to stay. Whatever their traffic source was, search or social or email, they know that there's many other options. Never forget where your visitor came from. There's a true story in the life of every visitor to every web page. Once they land, they came from somewhere that had other choices, right? Especially search. Whoa, no way am I going to read this, right? There's probably a better option. I'm going to hit the back button. So format your copy for scanners with lots of formatting. See the difference? This is the same copy. One is broken up. Designers know that white space is important. Writers also need to know that white space is important. So as you develop your content, you've got a subhead, a little paragraph, you're going to grow that, but grow it into a bullet list. Okay, these bullet lists, you're going to expand that and grow that with subheads. Okay, these little subheads for each bullet list are going to expand. Now that becomes another paragraph. See how it's growing in structure, right? It's like cellular biology or something. This is not, we're not just, this isn't a writing assignment, a reading assignment. This is not college. You're not assigning this as a required reading. They know that they can hit the back button. There's no way to remove the back button from your pages, right? Paper book, there's no back button. You can write denser paragraphs. Jason Fried says that short paragraphs get read, long paragraphs get skimmed, and very long paragraphs get skipped. So here's an example. As you scan through, let's see if I've got, this is not a video. So simple way to understand this is to make sure that there's something of visual interest at every scroll depth. There's very few places in the content where you can scroll and see just all text. That's how I'm going to keep my readers engaged. We do a survey every year of 1,000 bloggers and have found that bloggers that add more images are more likely to report strong results. There's a direct correlation between use of visuals and strong results. The ultimate visual is, of course, the video. Putting a video at the top of a page can have a dramatic impact on your engagement. This is the analytics using two segments, one for those that watched the video, one for those that did not watch the video. Only 10% of them actually clicked to watch the video, but those people had a bounce rate 20% lower than the others. The average time on page was 3.5 times higher than others. And the conversion rate was like 3.5x. Very big difference, right? They attract far more subscribers because the video is so compelling. So that I just answered the question, how does video support search rankings? It does so, but does so indirectly. Video creates longer time on page. Time on page for search is dwell time. High dwell time is likely a user interaction signal. User interaction signals are a search ranking factor. Makes sense. By the way, I did not say that must be a video you produced. I'm not saying go out and become a video producer. There's no reason why any video wouldn't make a difference here. Internal links, just briefly, internal links. If you write an article about bounce rate, for example, you should find other pages on your site that mention bounce rate, so you can link to your new piece from old pieces. Very few marketers do this. Lots of content creators write articles that have links to other old stuff, but do you ever think of linking to the new thing from the old thing? So to find all your old things that mention a topic, just search your own website, site:/web address. On this example, I've got 59 pages on my site that mention bounce rate. If I write a new article about bounce rate, I've got 59 internal linking opportunities. I should at least take advantage of a few of those. As a general rule, I would put it strongly. You're not even done publishing something new until you have linked to it from something old. My final tip for you is and Pablo, this is great because we'll have some time for Q&A. My final tip for you is about adding contributor quotes. This is simply a form of influencer marketing, but not paid influencer marketing. It's organic influencer marketing. It's going to lead to relationships with other content creators. The ideal collaborator for a piece of content is someone who also creates content on their own site or writes content for other high authority websites, because you're hoping sort of that they may mention you later in their things, and that could lead to links to you. Those links would support your authority, increasing the chance that every page on your site could rank one day. So organic influencer marketing is not just about paying lifestyle Instagram celebrities to mention you. That's in fact a very strange and tiny part of influencer marketing. Collaborative content is a form of influencer marketing, and it happens every day. Another perspective on this would be comes from journalism. A journalist would never write an article without a source. So why do content marketers keep writing articles without contributor quotes? It's a weird idea. I would never almost never would I write an article without a contributor quote. This article, my recent article here, is an exception because I was literally in Spain coming back. I didn't have time. I'll get one in here shortly, but this is an article. It's weird for me. I feel naked publishing this thing because, my rule would always be to include perspectives, to include insights, to add. Let's find. This is an article that recommends a bigger, longer term, more scalable content strategy to actually create an entire curriculum slowly over time. Do I know people that have a perspective on this? Yes. Anne Handley herself, right? The internet's first chief content officer. I asked her for input. There it is. It's wonderful. Joanna Wiebe herself, the founder of Copy Hackers, one of the greatest bloggers, conversion copywriters. That's Jo Wiebe right there. So this is building my relationships. It's improving the quality of the content. It also improves the reach because they may share. These people may be likely to share. So red shirts versus blue shirts. The red shirt just writes an article. I don't want you to do that anymore. If that was you, we can stop doing that today. The blue shirt has an idea for an article, maybe makes a social media post to socialize the topic with their network, get some input. What should I talk about? What would be good contributions? How should I approach this? What are the angles? What shouldn't I miss? And then they include some of those people in the piece, right? The most interesting perspectives get included as contributor quotes, supportive elements. Now, these two posts go live. Who gets greater social reach? So collaborative content marketing, aka organic influencer marketing, can also directly improve your traffic by enlisting the contributors as promoters, right? They call it ego bait. An ally in creating content is also an ally in then promoting that content. So as we said at the beginning, content optimized for search includes keywords. Put your target key phrase in your title, your header, your body text, but that's insufficient. Content optimized for social media should include people, faces, names, job titles, companies, links, quotes. The quote is the most powerful key on your keyboard. It turns another person into the messenger for your message. You are not your only messenger. It's a bad blog that has only one point of view. It's a bad web page, sales page, service page that is where every, the only perspective is the brand. It's the power of testimonials. This is the power of contributor quotes. You need to enlist these pages should be like a little party, like a panel. Ever go to a conference and there's a panel? It's even better when they don't agree. Like that's interesting, right? And you can obviously optimize your content for both, for search and for social. So it sort of answers the question, how many people are waiting for this article to go live? It's the problem with my post today. I didn't enlist the help of anybody. Nobody was waiting for this article to go live. It just suddenly went live. When done properly, and that's actually one of the tips from this post was that you can make a piece of content that includes all kinds of people in it. My insights, contributor quote, author insight, contributor quote. Sometimes the impact on the sharing can be dramatic. This had more than 1,000 shares. So these are collaborative content marketing. It's very ironic that this piece is one perspective because I recommend not publishing, right? I say content marketing is now in a post single point of view era. It's ironic that I'm the only point of view on this article. But again, Pablo, you understand, right? I was coming back from Spain. I was gone for 2 weeks. It's a miracle I even pulled that thing together. Forgive me. So the contributor quote, yes, there are other formats too. The roundup, which I just highlighted in that article, the deep dive interview, which is sort of like this format right now, right? It's just, I'm going much farther into a topic. This is not an article format. This is a webinar, but what is this? This is a deeper perspective with lots of insights from one person. But bottom line, this is my final slide. And well, I have one more after this, but what we should be doing here is making a sincere attempt at creating deep quality, differentiated content, unexpectedly valuable articles, disarmingly helpful, like surprise, like the visitor, eventually comes to believe that, if you wrote a piece on this topic, that's all they need. That's the only piece they need. If Andy wrote it, that I'm good. I just read that and I know I got the whole thing. So yes, it is 10 times the effort. Our average article takes us between 10 and 12 hours to construct. But we saw the difference between the red shirts and blue shirts. I will do anything I can do. I will spend 4 hours to make a video, right? I'll create original diagrams. I'll do 10 hours of outreach to get original data and insights and publish a research piece or to launch a giant survey, to get the best answer for something. Original research or videos or in-depth things or deep roundups or, keep rewriting a piece. Why? Because results are exponential. Time is linear. I can double my time. That's only twice as much time. But results are on a curve. And anything that gets you even a little bit farther over to being that blue shirt where you can beat 20 people, the 20 kids around you, that's the difference. And it is so impactful. It is so worth it. There are no straight lines in marketing reports. They're always a big curve, right? It's an exponential game. So my final recommendation is just to obsess over quality to the extent, even if the effort is 10 times your typical effort or your competitor's effort, because it's those 10x efforts that frequently yield the 100x results. Stepping out, and I'll stop sharing here, and maybe we can have a question or two, or Pablo, you and I can just have a conversation.
Yeah. We have a few questions. So thank you so much for it was a so just overview. Yeah, we also love the quality content. I believe the quality it's it's everything. Yeah. So like if you have a quality content, your customers loves you, Google's loves you. You just feel this what Google search for always, which is called knowledge gap.
Yeah.
So you have more information than your competitors. You just do the education as Andy does. So this is always perfect combo if you just spend a little more time and do a little bit more on the quality level. So we have a few questions. So first one from the Adam. So visible places, I think so. It was just somewhere in the middle of your presentation because it's like 40 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. Visible places, I understood it's like a title and meta description. VS meta elements, how we should optimize meta elements and the title and things like that. So what is the difference probably between the optimization of those two?
Well, we've done the research, we've evaluated the competition, we've looked closely at a search results page, and we've concluded that we have a chance of ranking for this target key phrase. So we have a primary key phrase we've selected for our article. How to write an expert roundup was the example I gave. That page went live, a few hours ago, so it's not ranking at all. I'm sure it's probably not even indexed. But the next step is to then use the target key phrase, the primary key phrase, in your title tag in the beginning, somewhere in the header, and at least a couple of times in the body text. That's step one. Then incorporate the related phrases. Of which there are many. In my article, it was terms like marketing, terms like post, terms like blog post, terms like influencers. I forgot. I ran it through Market Muse, so I didn't capture them in the draft. But yeah, it's just that simple. The other elements, there are other meta tags. There's a meta keywords tag which can be ignored. Google pays no attention to it. And there's really meta content. Those meta tags are just 1,000th as important as the article itself. So sure, optimize for them, but it's not it's not really the main thing here. You can actually ignore them all and still rank high if the article is exceeds the quality and depth of the other articles that rank for the phrase.
Okay. I think this is very important. Yes, the quality of the articles. Okay, and then questions from Greg. How we can decide what internal links will be interested for Google? So it's about internal linking between the probably fresh article and the old articles. Maybe how many those links should be, or how is your good practice when you have a new content piece on your blog, and how do you decide?
Well, if you're doing it just to pass authority from page to page, then you can use a tool. I'm using Moz. You can use any tool you'd like. You can use a tool. Why isn't that expanding? To find your most authoritative pages. So if you link from this top pages report, so these are the pages that have the most authority, because they have the most links and the highest quality links from other websites. So a link from one of these to the new page will be more valuable than a link with much lower authority. So if the internal linking is strictly for the sake of improving the page authority of a URL, then you could use that criteria. But ideally, every link is made with a hope, at least, that a human will click on it.
Yeah. Okay. I believe. Yeah. So first of all, you do like a one link from, let's say, or high visible page. Yes, because I understand that when it's well linked, it's high visible page on in the service, on the domain. And the second, how many links you build from the old articles to the new one, how do you build any kind?
Just a couple.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
And they are just random, or do you choose similar articles or different articles, or?
Well, it should make sense. So it's just something that's related. So here's an article about marketing visuals. I've never checked the rankings. I'm curious now. Marketing, I think it's optimized for like visuals and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just thought of checking here. I never looked. It does not rank today on page 1 in Google. I did not. But let's say I'm looking for internal linking opportunities for this. I'm just going to go to Google. I'm going to search for site:/orbit media.
Yeah.
And I'm going to search for marketing visuals or visuals. That page is already ranking, but here's some other ones. Content formats for lead generation, how images affect SEO. These would be internal linking opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah, that's clear. So the topical authority from Google will decide which kind of pages you would like to build inside the cluster. So
yeah, they could be. I mean, or I know just from memory that that these are my closely related things. Like this new article about marketing visuals references some of the things from this, like how images can affect SEO. So that was one where I'd probably link from that, from the old one to the new one as well.
Okay. I hope it's clear. And next question from Ada. What do you think about new author authority variable in algorithm? I believe so. So Google, it's maybe not announcing, but there are some information about the author authority. So like, for example, if I don't know if you try already, Andy, but if you probably search for your name or for name from any of the authors, they will be snippets where your articles will be from several different websites or even your videos and so on. So it's clearly that Google already understand your So you are the educator, I would say so, yes, and you are treated right now similarly to musicians, for example, yes, because if you search for a musician, you will have a
Sure.
similar set of documents. So how do you feel about this? Because if I understand, it's just like, should we use this or should we build this topical outer authority to rank content higher?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure how to trigger that. It believes that because I've written books and I'm in Google Books. Also, I know my book has been cited and appears in the Google Scholar program, and I claimed my profile in Google Scholar program. But my tip for that is just to do personal SEO for yourself as an author or yourself as whatever, no matter what you do. There are schema you can add to your bio page to help the search engine understand many, many more things about you. So search for this article. If you search for personal SEO, this is basically the 4th or 5th ranked page. My article on this topic, this is interesting because I wrote these other articles years ago as guest posts. My name has been removed from Neil Patel's website, but that's my article as well. But this article here has the schema. Just do personal SEO for your name, optimize for your name, and there's a lot of little ways to do it.
Okay, great. I will try to, because we have a lot of questions here. Didn't expect it, so many on the end. So what's your view on GPT-3 generated content? So in general, so on general generated content, yes, with AI, let's say. Do you use it or do you like it or?
I don't use it and I haven't thought much about it, but for me, the beginning, middle, and end is to make an article that is unexpectedly useful to the visitor. And as I said, I will spend, 10 hours on a single piece of content. I write articles each year, original research pieces that I'll work literally for 100 hours on a single piece of content. So I think the point of AI-driven content is to save time. Saving time is not one of my goals. And so I never even really consider or care anything about, automated content. Probably there's a context for it. There's like services that have to send a report to 5,000 people because, they're financial planners or they're an app, that want to summarize your fitness or something. So it can't have a human write, summaries of someone's fitness program for the month, or I don't know. There's probably places and ways for it, but I think it's going to be a long time before that can compete well against content marketers who are, legitimate thought leaders. Just read anything Annie Handley wrote and try to imagine a robot doing that. It may not be that far away. I can't say for sure. Technology always amazes me, but it doesn't align with any of my goals, so I don't really think much about it.
Okay. So the next question from Bojana. It is better to create best page on a popular and often searched topic, or try to find niche topics. Yeah.
Well, the more popular topics are typically more competitive and difficult to rank for. They are also frequently more general phrases for which you know less about the intent of the visitor. But they may be more so the shorter the phrase, the more popular the phrase, the lower the conversion rate because the lower the intent and the higher the competition. Conversely, the longer the key phrase, the less competition, the fewer people searching, but the more you know about the intent of the visitor, therefore the higher the conversion rate, the more likely you are to satisfy their needs. So how to write an expert roundup is going to be easier to rank for and be a more engaging post than how to write an article, right? So I'd rather have a smaller audience of people who love what they found than a lot of people who are kind of clicking around and they don't need anything very specific. The smaller your audience, often the faster your business will grow. A lot of companies fail because they're just, their content tastes like water. They don't make tough decisions. They don't, they're trying to please everybody. It's there's a lot of very smart, very successful marketers who say, first, make a small number of people love you, and then everything in life gets easier. So I think that it's a common failure to miss out the chance to niche down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a great advice, a business advice more than the content advice. But yeah, thank you so much for this. Okay, from Mihail, there is a question, but I think it's very open because it's not really related to a content. An advice for a website that took a nosedive after algo update. Can a website get
restored,
resurrected? So
I have no experience with recovery from penalties because I've never done it. I've never really been penalized or tried anything that was at all out of line with Google's recommendations or guidelines. So Marie Haynes is a respected leader on the topic of penalty recovery. You could look at her blog. She's very famous for that topic. But I don't know anything about that. I'm sorry. I don't have any experience.
I believe this is why you don't know anything about it, because you create a quality topic, quality content, and this is
I never took any shortcuts. I never bought any links. I'm right, but also maybe it's one of those I'm writing in a category just like marketing. I think there's other categories that are higher risk where it's like, I don't know. There's some industries, payday loans or gambling, something. Yeah,
one of those. Yes. Okay. I believe last question then, because it's 1 hour already and 5 minutes. So, your thoughts on Google rewriting title tags and meta description, and a strategy to handle this better. So, yeah.
Well, if for years we recommended putting the brand name first in a title tag for any service page. So Orbit Media - Chicago Web Design, something like that. But Google decided that the brand, we put the brand last, and Google now frequently puts the brand first. So this is a little bit like farmers who complain about the weather. There's nothing you can do about it. So I don't think much about it. I just try to make the title tags as helpful as possible. I think it's fascinating actually how Google does it, because they will rewrite the title tag not page by page, but for keyword by keyword. So they might have your title tag be exactly as you wrote it for one keyword. In the same page, they rewrite the title tag for a different keyword. So they're really trying to help visitors. These are it's another example of how Google is just doing its best to give people a great page and help people answer questions. So I don't worry about it too much. I suppose if I was doing analysis on it and noticed it and saw patterns, I would maybe try to use that to get insights into what Google really wants from these pages and try to write pages that Google wouldn't need to rewrite. But really, and I'm glad, well, maybe if this is the end, I'll close on this. The main problem now in search is that we all have to sort of compete with Google, because Google is really putting so many features into search results pages that click-through rate is generally declining. Google's sending less traffic to websites year after year, month after month. So the trick now, it's an important point and I'm glad we're touching on it. Look very closely at search results and ask yourself, is anyone even going to click on anything on this search for this keyword? Do not target key phrases that have only fact intent. If the person is looking for a short answer, you're probably not going to get any visitors from that phrase. Target key phrases for which the answers are long and the content needs to be deep and detailed. Things like how to write a roundup or how to research keywords. It's probably a mistake these days to target a key phrase if the visitor is just looking for a very brief answer.
Yeah. Well, this is very, very important point. I will share with you, Andy, and maybe with the rest of our guests here. a paper from a Google RankBrain team, how they see the Google in a few years, because it looks like they are seeing more as a display engine, not a search engine. So they are right now trying to figure it out how to generate the content from the content that they have in the index, not to really display the documents that they are not sure of. So they are fighting like how to get the quality information from the documents and just display this information generated by the AI. So yeah, it's very, very, very. On one side, it's quite scary, but on the other side, I believe they. This is the way how they go already a few years, yes, or even more than a few years. So
that's right.
Okay.
Grow your email list. Grow your email list. Do not rely on technology giants and monopolies for free traffic. You know, I love search. And I use it all the time, and I, as I said, it's made me a better writer. But build a brand, build a reputation, and grow your email list, because that's your best chance for a secure future.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Andy. We already out of time. There is one question more, so I will send it to you by email, and maybe then send it to everyone. So thank you so much, and yeah, have a good day.
Thank you. You can find me on LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.